Single dad saved his drunk boss from trouble. The next day, she didn't pretend to forget. It was close to midnight when Ethan Cole's phone buzzed. He had just finished a late shift as a delivery driver, exhausted but grateful he'd managed to pay another week of rent. His 6-year-old daughter, Lily, was already asleep on the couch, clutching her worn-out teddy bear. He looked at the screen, an unknown number flashing repeatedly. Normally he wouldn't answer, but something, maybe instinct, told him to pick up. "Ethan?" a slurred female voice murmured. "It's Claire." It took him a second. Claire Bennett, his boss, CEO of Bennett Logistics. The woman known for being impossibly composed, always polished, never smiling longer than a second. She was calling him at midnight? "Claire, are you okay?" Ethan asked, already sensing trouble. Her voice cracked. I think I made a mistake. Can't drive. Please don't tell anyone. Can you come get me?" Ethan didn't hesitate. He tucked Lily gently into bed, threw on his jacket, and drove through the quiet streets of downtown Portland. When he arrived, he saw her, sitting on a curb outside a closed bar, shivering in the cold, heels off, mascara streaked. She looked nothing like the woman who ran board meetings with an iron will. "Hey," he said softly. "Let's get you home." She looked up, blinking. "You shouldn't have come. I didn't want you to see me like this." Ethan smiled faintly. "We all have bad days, Claire. Let's just get you somewhere safe." He helped her into the passenger seat, covering her shoulders with his jacket. She mumbled apologies, half-conscious. "You're too kind. People take advantage of kind men like you." "Maybe," he said quietly. "But I'd rather be kind anyway." The next morning, Ethan expected the awkward silence, or worse, the "let's forget this ever happened" conversation. That's how it usually went when people saw him as just the driver. But when he arrived at work, something was different. The office was buzzing. Claire was in early, not her usual controlled self, but calm, almost humble. And when she saw him walk in, she stood up. "Ethan, can I have a word?" she said, her tone steady but sincere. They stepped into her office. She looked at him for a long moment before speaking. "You didn't have to come last night. You didn't judge me. You didn't take photos, didn't gossip. You just helped." Ethan shrugged slightly. "You needed someone. That's all." She nodded, eyes glistening. "Do you always live like that? Always helping even when no one helps you back?" He smiled faintly. "I try to. My daughter watches everything I do. I want her to grow up believing kindness isn't weakness." For the first time, Claire's cold corporate shell cracked. She sat down, almost speechless. "You're raising her alone, aren't you?" "Yeah, since her mom left. It's tough, but she's my world." Claire leaned back, her expression softening. "You know, I've spent years chasing success. I forgot what it means to simply be decent." She paused. "You reminded me last night." That afternoon, Ethan was about to clock out when Claire called again. This time not as a boss, but as a friend. "I wanted to thank you properly," she said. "Come by tomorrow morning. Bring Lily." He hesitated. "Why?" "You'll see." The next day, Ethan walked into the office lobby with Lily holding his hand. Claire met them at the door and smiling. Really smiling, she knelt down to Lily's level. "Hi, sweetheart. I've heard a lot about you." Lily giggled shyly. "Your daddy's boss?" Claire laughed softly. "Something like that. But I think your dad deserves more than that title." She stood, turning to Ethan. "You're getting promoted. Effective today. Operations supervisor. Better pay, flexible hours. You've earned it." Ethan blinked, stunned. "Claire, I don't—" She raised a hand. "This isn't charity. It's recognition. You've been doing more than your job for a long time. I just never took the time to notice." Lily threw her arms around her dad's waist. "See, Daddy? Kind people win." Claire smiled warmly. "Yes, they do." As Ethan drove home that evening, the city bathed in a golden sunset. Lily hummed in the back seat, holding the new lunchbox Claire had gifted her. He looked at her through the rearview mirror, then smiled to himself. Sometimes life doesn't reward the loud or the lucky. It rewards the quiet hearts, the ones who do good when no one's watching. And somewhere in a high-rise office, Claire Bennett watched the same sunset from her window, her glass of water untouched beside her laptop. For the first time in years, she felt something real: gratitude. for one man's simple kindness that changed not just her night, but her life. Claire stood by the window of her office long after the sun disappeared behind the city skyline. Her reflection in the glass no longer looked like the woman who measured her worth in contracts and quarterly reports. For years, she'd convinced herself that strength meant control, that vulnerability was a luxury she couldn't afford. But the memory of Ethan wrapping his jacket around her shoulders that night, without expectation or judgment, had broken something open inside her. She remembered what it felt like to be seen, not as a CEO, not as a woman who had it all, but simply as a person. Later that week, Claire decided to visit the warehouse floor, something she rarely did. The employees fell silent when they saw her. She was known for being distant, even intimidating. But this time she smiled genuinely. "Morning, everyone," she said, her voice softer than usual. "I just wanted to say, I appreciate the work you all do, especially those who stay late, who never complain, who keep this place running even when no one notices." Her eyes found Ethan across the room. He gave a small, humble nod, as if to say no thanks needed. But she wasn't done. "From today onward," she continued, "we're launching a new employee support program. Better healthcare, family benefits, and flexible schedules. I realize that success means nothing if the people behind it are exhausted." A ripple of surprise spread through the team. Some clapped, others whispered in disbelief. For the first time, the company didn't feel like a machine. It felt human. A few days later, Ethan was home making pancakes with Lily when his phone buzzed. It was Claire again. "Hey, you busy?" she asked, her tone casual. "Just being a short-order chef for a picky customer," Ethan teased, glancing at Lily, who was covered in flour. Claire laughed, a real, carefree laugh he'd never heard from her before. "I wanted to ask if you and Lily would join me for the company picnic next weekend. I figured she might enjoy the rides, and I'd love to meet your world outside work." Ethan hesitated. "You sure you want to spend your weekend with employees?" "I'm sure I want to spend it with people who remind me what matters," she said softly. When they arrived that Saturday, the park was alive with laughter. Kids ran around with balloons and music played over the speakers. Claire was there early, wearing jeans and a simple white blouse, a far cry from her usual sharp suits. Lily ran to her instantly, tugging her hand. "Miss Claire, Daddy said you're the boss of everyone." Claire knelt to her level, smiling. "Only on weekdays, sweetheart. Today we're all just friends." As the day went on, Ethan noticed something beautiful. Claire wasn't pretending anymore. She wasn't performing. She was sitting on the grass, laughing with employees, helping serve food, even losing a game of tug-of-war and laughing about it. At one point, she turned to Ethan and said quietly, "You know, I used to think helping people made me soft. But now I see, and it's the only thing that makes me feel strong." He nodded. "Kindness doesn't make you weak. It just reminds you that you're still human." She looked at him for a long moment. "And I needed that reminder more than you know." Weeks turned into months, and the change in Claire's company became the talk of the industry. Her new employee-focused policies improved morale, productivity, and loyalty. Journalists called it the Bennett shift. But to her, it wasn't a business move, it was a personal awakening. One evening, as she prepared to leave the office, she saw Ethan walking Lily to the car after visiting her dad at work. Lily ran up to her, waving a small drawing. "I made this for you," the little girl said. Claire smiled, kneeling to take it. It was a crayon sketch of 3 people, Ethan, Lily, and Claire, holding hands under a big yellow sun. Her throat tightened. "This is beautiful, Lily. Is that me?" "Yeah," Lily said proudly. "You're smiling now. Daddy says you forgot how, but you remembered." Claire blinked back tears. "You know what? He's right." Ethan smiled, resting a gentle hand on his daughter's shoulder. "She's got a good eye." Claire looked at both of them, her heart full in a way she couldn't explain. "Thank you," she whispered, "for saving me that night, and every day since." Months later, at the company's annual gathering, Claire gave a short speech. "Success isn't measured by how high we climb," she said, her gaze finding Ethan in the crowd. "It's measured by how many hands we reach for on the way up. One person's act of kindness can change an entire company."